center and development. Okay, everybody. So the frontier line right here. So that line in chess is very important. It's called the frontier line. Keep that in mind. Okay? The frontier line right there, folks. And I know where the artist is going to get to. This is what I was saying. I actually read the first chapter, but I didn't read the rest. But I also know about the frontier line. Let's keep it simple. So that's the frontier line. That's obvious. Okay, so number two, the midpoint, or the small square is the center. So that's the center, folks. All right, Harut, now you know about the center, my brother. That's the center. That's where you want to put that's where you want to control. Control the center, you control the game, my brother. Okay? The line, that's why, I don't know if you remember how to, but sometimes when we played and you put your pawn from the corner, for example, your first move to put your corner pawn, up front, right? All the way your corner pawn. And I would say, oh, that's already a bad move, is because, instead of trying to control the center, you were just making a random move from the side. So the line shown on diagram one we call the frontier line, and it's of course to be taken in its mathematical, not in its chess sense. The square marked on diagram 2 is the midpoint of the board, again, naturally in its mathematical sense. The midpoint is easy to find as it is the point of intersection of the long diagonals. Okay. All right, now we're gonna just read this and then we will reread it again. So now let's just read about the number one. By development, we mean the strategic advance of the troops in the frontier line. Okay, the process is similar to the advance on the outbreak of a war. Okay, both armies seek to reach the frontier as quickly as possible in order to penetrate into enemy territory. Development is a collective conception. To have developed one, two, or three pieces does not mean that we are developed. The situation demands that all pieces be developed. The period of development should be inspired by a democratic spirit. How undemocratic, for instance, it would be to let one of your officers go for a long walking tour while the others kick their heels together at home and bored themselves horribly. No, let each officer make one move only and dig himself in. Okay, so folks, now we're going to go back again and reread this and discuss because it's very important. I don't want to just read it. I want to make sure this sticks into our memory. Ooh. All right, so by development, we mean the strategic advance of troops in the frontier line. Okay, so chess is a war game, everybody. The frontier line is right there. We want to, when Mr. Aron or Nimzowitsch, Mr. Nimzowitsch, okay, when Mr. Nimzowitsch is saying development, he's talking about he's basically saying get your pieces to the frontier line, right? As quick as possible and not just one piece, all the pieces. So then, when the war starts, you could attack together, right? For example, if you and I are, let's say, two pawns, right? Or if you are a knight and I am a bishop, right? And you decide to go into the frontier line, right? And I'm all the way back. I haven't even made a move yet. And all of a sudden, you decide to go into the enemy territory, right? And I'm way back. Now all of a sudden you're fighting against the whole enemy, and I can't help you because I'm not developed. That's what he means by development. Get everybody to the frontier line as quick as possible, one move at a time. So once you get there, then we could all attack together. We could gang up. All right? Again, the process is similar to the advance on the outbreak of a war. Both armies seek to reach the frontier as quickly as possible in order to penetrate into enemy territory. That's what we want to do, Harut. You and I want to get into the frontier line, including Jacob. In this case, could be the queen. No, not the queen. The queen is mostly in the end. Let's say the rook, right? Or the knight, the bishops, whatever. We want to get there, right? And so then we could attack together instead of just attacking all once. Because if I attack, imagine I get to the frontier line all by myself, right over here, and I try to attack the whole, army by myself. I'm in trouble. Right? Okay. So all right. So development is a collective conception. To have developed one, two, or three pieces does not mean that we are developed. Okay? The situation demands that all pieces be developed. The period of development should be inspired by a democratic spirit. How undemocratic, for instance, it would be to let one of your officers to go for a long walking tour while the others kick their heels together at home and bored themselves horribly. No, let each officer make one move only and dig himself in. So over here, Nimzowitsch is saying that development is a collective conception. To have developed one, two, or three pieces does not mean that we are developed. So I can only say I am developed when all of my pieces are basically, uh, in the frontier line and ready to attack together. So if I only have my knight, for example, right here on close to the frontier line, if I have my knight over there and my bishop is not there, okay, and my rook is not there, for example, then that's not called development. Okay. Okay, so now let's simply read point number 2. Okay, I'm going to read it and then we will reread it again.